My name is Dominik Myczkowski, and I'm from Tokapi NFT Marketplace. We are the first NFT marketplace in Europe with custodial and multi-chain support, so kind of the Nifty gateway for Europe. And we also accept credit cards, as Miguel said before, so you can register at our page already. And yeah, that's so far for me, and I will tell you a little bit about how to build communities in Europe. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Abieyuwa Eigbobo. Most people call me Abby. I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I'm a Nigerian American, and today I'm going to be speaking about the African NFT community, along with my friend who's going to introduce herself next.
Hey everyone, I'm Ayesha. I'm a photographer and digital collage artist. Currently based in London, however, I'm from South Africa. And yeah, as Abby mentioned, we're here to represent the African NFT community, and we'll be speaking on some of the barriers to entry that some of the artists face from the continent.
Hi everyone, my name is Oscar Rodriguez. I am a native New Yorker, but I was born in Honduras. So the company I represent is called Chain Flowers, and I believe it's the first NFT platform in Spanish, completely in Spanish. And so what we're doing is we're bridging the gap between the Spanish-speaking community, because the fact that they don't speak English doesn't mean that we don't have great artists. So that's what we're gonna talk about a little bit, about what we're doing with Chain Flowers in order to bring this entire community into the world of NFTs.
I love that. I'm all about diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, and I think that more than anything, that is one of the key components to why and how this is going to be so important for the world. And y'all are doing that. Cultivate community with the culture that is formed today and building tomorrow. So I love that. So that said, as a community manager, community builder, I personally think that people in the audience would love to know, what would you say are, what is one of the biggest pain points or Achilles heels in starting a new community? Because you understand that whether it's a PFP project or it's a nonprofit organization or it's whatever it may be, each of them have their own different struggles and hurdles and forms of adversity and obstruction, but you're speaking a different language, which I think we kind of take for granted every single time that we're saying NFT or blockchain or cryptocurrency or burning or anything, even down to GM, right? So I'd love to start with you and move that way and figure out what you all feel is kind of like one big thing that has been kind of a pain in your side that people can kind of think ahead about in terms of the audience and how to build community.
So for our community, we started about a year ago, and it was just a WhatsApp group. That's all it was, between family and friends, and helping each other out. Because our biggest barrier was language. Obviously, I know English, I understand it fully. Like I said, I was raised here. I went and I got a degree out of Columbia University and got a master's degree down in Florida. So I understand technology. I know the concept. But even for me, coming into the crypto world, it was completely different. And let alone NFTs. When I heard about that, I said, well, that sounds, I'll be honest, sounds ridiculous. And I'm in IT. So for me to learn about it and become accustomed to it and then, see everything that, the only thing I regret is not having gotten and driven into it sooner than when I did. But one of the biggest hurdles for us was definitely language. So again, we started as a WhatsApp group. The moment we started to be successful, the moment, we saw, and not just in cryptocurrencies, obviously in NFTs, the community began to ask questions. We have Facebook, we have social media, and friends and family, hey, what are you doing? What's changing? Because I know what you work as. I know you're a programmer. I know you make good money, but it's not that good. What's happening? So the dilemma was, how do we teach non-English speaking people about NFTs? So for them to grasp that concept in layman's terms was, I think, one of our biggest hurdles. Our community has grown to have over 3,000 people now. So it's no longer friends and family. I don't know that many people. But our community has grown to that level. And the way that we we're able to overcome it is by educating them. So we're holding conferences, we're holding, and obviously not as big as this, but we're holding conferences we're inviting 50, 100, 200 people, whatever it is, both online and in person. I feel that the in-person one is a little better because you can then manually show them how to do it. While we're teaching them in Spanish, obviously they're seeing everything in English. Hence, this is where the Chain Flowers idea was born, to have an application that is fully in Spanish, so that we're not just teaching them how to do it in Spanish, they're also reading, the buttons, because you see the button that says buy or purchase or exchange, it gets even more confusing. For us, I think that was the biggest challenge.
Very cool. And as somebody that has over 250,000 members of their community, education and empowerment is what I built my brand around.
Right.
It's definitely you teach a person to fish moment.
You got it.
And one thing that I'll just add that adds value to what you said and how you're growing and expanding that everybody can benefit from is Otter AI to transcribe your verbal correspondences. And then if you take that and then you run it through something that can translate the captions of
Correct.
that text, now you have 5 different ways of reaching somebody
Very
audibly, visually, and people people learn 60,000 times faster visually.
Right.
So just
Right.
keep that in mind.
Right.
For scalability, that's it.
Yeah.
And you get multilingual with it too.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, for us, so the African NFT community kind of spawned out of Black NFT art, which was co-founded by Iris Nevins, which you see on the screen. And it was founded as a result of us beginning to understand, okay, we have this community of Black artists in the space, but we're not addressing some of the challenges that artists, specifically Black artists from the continent, are facing in terms of not only language, because jargon, we all know in the NFT space, takes a while to kind of adjust to some of the terminology that we come across, but also just communication in general. So, for example, some artists from countries such as Nigeria may not be able to access platforms like Twitter, where a lot of the communication in the NFT space and a lot of the dialogue happens. So understanding some of these barriers to entry, even in terms of like minting and listing your work, and understanding that the value of $1 is going to be much greater in a place like Ghana or Senegal versus in the US. So how can we better understand how to provide funds to artists on the continent to make that onboarding process easier?
Yeah, and so in addition to what she said, we have artists in countries where crypto is like completely banned, or they have to like find roundabout ways in order to get cryptocurrency. And so that's something we do in our community. Like a couple of times I've helped somebody in Zimbabwe, like they'll send me money and I'll send ETH to their MetaMask so that they're able to mint or, bid on a piece. And also people have to use VPNs, and then we also have to deal with like the different time zones. So if certain things are happening at certain times, it might be like 3 a.m. in another country, but it's like 2 p.m. here, and like different barriers of entry like that. And of course the Ethereum gas fees are just a lot for like us here, but definitely abroad as well. And so we try and like encourage people to explore the other blockchains as well, but I mean Ethereum is the top one. So we try and help each other find opportunities and resources so that it's a more level playing field for people here in the US and in Africa.
Thank you. Well, I would like to bring some interaction into this panel and to show you how we're building communities in Europe. And first of all, please take out your phone. Really, come on, we don't have that much time, only 15 minutes left. Take out your phone and make a selfie with your right and left neighbor. Come on, let's do it.
Real quick, best picture competition.
Okay. You're doing selfies only with yourself, that's not the deal? Okay, great. So after the panel, please exchange your socials. By now, hopefully in the best case, you have already 2 new people in your personal community. if you follow me on Twitter, I'm Dominik_MyCC, then we are already 3 people. And I promise I follow you back. So for the next year, we make a group, and then we are approximately kind of 300 people in the community. That's how we do it in Europe. And that's also the biggest problem, to get the people to reach them, to build these communities. So how we're doing, it's organically. That's it.
I love it. I love it. You know, I'm a firm believer that people shouldn't build castles on somebody else's sand. And that's something that I've unfortunately done with Instagram, with Snapchat, with Periscope when that was a thing, with Musical.ly before it swapped. The list goes on and on. It goes all the way back to Justin.tv. And now it happens with Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, right? So one value prop that I would give personally in terms of building community is making sure that you have a push to start. You have access to be able to activate your community anywhere in the world at any time to do anything that you want. And with good foundation, structure, and leadership, you'll be able to do that. And find leaders, find community leaders, community managers, people in these different pockets all over the world that can help break it down. Because more than anything, like the commonality that I heard outside of peer-to-peer network and understanding and patience and comprehension is you've got to learn the code if you want to speak the language, right? This is a new language. You cut and sew, direct to garment, silk screen is a fashion language, right? Cool G rap and DJ Premier and Pete Rock is hip hop language, you know? We can go acid house, drum and bass, jungle, we can talk about a lot of things, but realistically, you have to break it down and make it digestible and not as daunting, which crypto has been for so long. And I think another thing to add on top of it is, you all mentioned how people don't understand the value of a dollar, or a rupee, or a peso, or a pound, or a euro, or whatever it may be in all of these different countries. To provide visual aids to help people understand the difference of how these things correlate and how much more important it is for certain places in the world to benefit from all of this is extremely, extremely valuable. I didn't realize it, but I did a activation in Penn Station earlier this month, and I took over 200 ad spaces in Penn Station with 88 artists from all over the world. And when they started blowing me up, when they were selling their work and telling me how important it was and how extraordinary it was, I thought nothing of it because I guess I'm jaded and privileged being in the States. But it is really changing people's lives. You don't think about how much more money something like this is, and it's also on the flip side how unfortunate gauging gas fees and things of that nature is, because this is someone's blood, sweat, and tears plus potentially their rent payment that's on the line for them to express themselves. And if it doesn't sell, that's mentally hard, and then also potentially leads to physical harm because of the work that's required from that.
Well, I think the biggest problem in building communities is not to reach the crypto degens and everybody who's already in the space, but the approach we are trying is to reach the masses. I know the masses is a term from back 2018, but we're trying to reach the people who are not in the ecosystem by now. And with NFTs, we could reach this by some extent, because we could extend the whole crypto and blockchain topic to art and to collectibles and digital collectibles and sports and so on. And that's also our approach at Tokapi NFT Marketplace, to expand the ecosystem to non-crypto people. And that's the biggest challenge, because you have to explain what is blockchain, you have to explain what are NFTs, you have to explain the whole terms, and yeah, obviously you have to sell your art or the art from the artists and the collectibles.
So, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and like African NFT community, like we want to be a place for African artists. I mean, we support everyone from the African diaspora, but we want to be a place where people can come to us, we can onboard you, And we have a Discord where we tell known scams. We don't want anyone getting it taken advantage of because they're from a different country and might not understand how NFTs work. And so we have our Discord with different resources. We help people and we help them figure out how to access different sites. For example, OpenSea, you can't access it in Zimbabwe. And actually the founder of African NFT is in Zimbabwe, so he has to do all these roundabout ways in order to mint and list work, which is a shame. So we're just basically here to help people understand and help everyone gain the generational wealth and really change lives. Some of our artists, when we started, they were creating work using their finger on their iPhones because they couldn't afford a laptop. And so now many of those artists now have laptops, iPads, and have paid their rent or moved their families out of horrible living situations and now live in better housing due to the success that they've achieved with NFTs.
Yeah. And also just going off of that, in terms of privacy and community building, I think one of the most important aspects of building these communities is understanding that you're now empowering artists not only to begin listing and sharing their own work, but also to have people have a support system that they can reach out to when they're navigating the space. Because yes, there is a wealth of knowledge online that you can Google if you want to learn about things, but there also, like Abby mentioned, is a lot of scams in this space. So you want to have a support system that you can turn to if you're having trouble understanding how to mint your work, how to exchange your crypto, things like that. You have people that you can turn to who are there to uplift you and help you excel in the space.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I love the fact that, we're talking about empowerment. And I think you mentioned it too when you said it's better to teach them how to fish, right? And so we were actually recently in El Salvador and in talking to different artists in El Salvador, you can see the picture up there. I got to know a lot of artists. I mentioned earlier, right? It's a place where they just made Bitcoin their legal tender. And so we were there in a country that, hey, you know what? For them to make Bitcoin legal tender, it sounds ages and light years ahead of us here in the States, to be honest. But in being with them, I got to see that language barrier is just the tip of the surface. When you go deeper, it really is educational, right? They just don't know about it. When I told them about, Bitcoin, when I told them about, and that's their legal tender, well, they just don't know what it is. I don't want a 0.002 Bitcoins. What do you mean you don't want it? Yes, you do, and here's why. So as I spoke to them, and here I was in these markets, and kind of, again, to go to that empowerment and teaching them how to do it, the market that you see right up there burnt down. So we're talking about thousands of different posts where everything was lost. And this method, these sales were their livelihood, like you were saying earlier too. This is the difference between paying rent, between eating and not eating. The legal coin, aside from Bitcoin in El Salvador, is dollars. And the minimum wage is $200. People are expected to live off of $200 a month, not weekly, a month, for a family of father, mother, and child. And so when they lose everything, how can I help them? I already met them. I met great artists. I saw their work, but they lost everything. Years worth of work. And to your point, and you were saying, right, they didn't have the technology in Africa to make NFTs, and they were using their fingers to do that. We thought to ourselves, why not use the platform that we're launching in Chain Flowers and create a fundraiser for them? And we tried to grasp that idea with these NFTs. We contacted, because actually the artists from El Salvador that I got to meet were the first ones that were gonna create the NFTs from El Salvador, but again, because they lost everything, they lost all their tools, they couldn't do it. We actually contacted a company that they were able to grasp the essence of the market. So kind of like a tourist, you go there and you wanna take a piece with you of El Salvador with you, a piece of that culture, and all of those proceeds are gonna go to help them. If we can get them at least a dinner for a week, I mean, $200 doesn't sound like a lot, but to them makes a difference. So the reason why I mentioned this is, again, to just talk about, in conclusion, that empowerment that we're talking about, right? Bringing communities together. NFTs is doing much more than what you and I are used to, about expressing our art, or about expressing our profiles. NFTs are really about also supporting our communities.
So that said, are you guys familiar with OO, Afro Droids? Oh my guy. I saw his project just take off and just build community literally overnight. I'm an impeccable person. So what I'm hearing is there's an opportunity for redistribution of wealth somewhat attached to maybe a earn to learn model or learn to earn model,
Yep.
similar to a Coinbase, because the education is the core to the growth, and then it's almost as if it's a tax, if you will, that not only will we pay you, but we'll take a portion of every sale based off of the platform that we use to give back to community, and that technically creates a DAO of sorts,
Yep.
or some form of NPO, 501c3. And in communities where $1 might be equal to 5, or $1 might be equal to 500, that's much more impactful.
Yep.
And we have artists all over the world that don't get discovered because they don't have outlets like this, right? So all of that said, what do you feel is kind of the key component other than education? Because that's easy in a sense. It's difficult, but it's easy, right? What would you say is like the hurdle beyond the education to get the adoption of the masses or the communities and the cultures and areas that you're from? I'll start with you and move down. Or actually, Oscar, we'll come to you last.
Okay.
We're gonna go there, throw it down there.
Well, to get mass adoption to the whole ecosystem, we have to make easy accessible portals. We have to make easy accessible technology. Excuse me. And I'm not talking about OpenSea, because OpenSea is not easy accessible for everyone. It's like buying at McDonald's NFTs. I know the comparison with McDonald's is somehow dangerous, but to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, I would say about the same thing, except like in some countries in Africa, like crypto is banned, or it's like really discouraged, or it's really, really difficult for you to get into. And of course, like I mentioned, some sites you can't even access unless you have a VPN. So if there's some kind of way to talk to the politicians or something about cryptocurrency and explain that it's not evil and like this can do positive things for people in your country, then, you know, I think that would be really beneficial.
Yeah, just adding on that, I think it's helping people understand, like Oscar mentioned, that this is more than just a piece of art. It's you being able to take a piece of history from that person's culture and add it to your collection and have a better understanding of their not only history as an artist, but also like history of their influences, their perspectives, and world experiences. So that's really important and will help, you know, people begin to understand the importance of the blockchain and preserving these life experiences for the future.
No, I completely agree. I think that having a strong community and keeping the communication lines open, like I said, we started as a WhatsApp group. So just to have, and then you mentioned also having community managers, I think, you know, having somebody available in your language to hold your hand, and even the government part, right? El Salvador is giving away, like I mentioned, $200 of Bitcoin to all of their residents. I think that's huge. So I think that brings down the entry barrier to the point where, hey, if these people now want to purchase more coins, here's $200 for you to pay the gas fees.
I love it. So I think everybody can agree on education, providing better and easier accessibility and stronger bridges that are multilingual and treating this as a international thing and worldwide thing and not just an isolated, we only have this or that, is going to be the key to the growth and expansion of the space, and highlighting, spotlighting, and empowering and invigorating communities all over the world. So I think you all are all doing a great part of that.
Thank you.
And yeah, what did you, I see it on your face. I'm like,
No, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for your time, and it's a pleasure being here.
all good.
And to close the loop, we have to make a selfie with the community also, and with the listeners.
Well, before we do that, we just wanted to say We have a website, AfricanNFT.club, and on there we have a video where you can hear artists from different countries, Botswana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and they get to explain themselves exactly what they're going through, so you can hear it from them, because I live in the United States and like I'm here to represent for them, but I haven't experienced it myself. So I think it's different when you actually hear it from the people going through it. So please go to AfricanNFT.club and watch the video.